Okay, so I've finished making the bed space for my camper van, and basically what I need to do now is to find a mattress that's going to fit. I've measured from this side, or this wall to this wall, which has given me what I want to be the length of the bed, and I've got the measurement from sort of the middle of the camper van to sort of the back doors, which has given me the width of the bed. But after looking for mattresses, there's nothing that fits that size, and the standard king size mattress doesn't fit. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify a mattress, one from Ikea, and make it fit into this space. So basically I bought this mattress here from Ikea, and I want to modify this mattress to fit the back of my camper van. I've taken some measurements of the back of the camper van, and it's approximately 135 in terms of width, and in length it's approximately 175. Now this mattress here that I purchased from Ikea yesterday is actually not far off that. It is a standard double, so it's 135 width and 190 length. So you can see we can probably take out a little bit from the bottom. So I've noticed already on the mattress that there's a little zip here on the end. Now these mattresses come nicely compressed, so you don't need to take a van to Ikea to purchase it. It's all rolled up, vacuum packed, and you can literally just cut it and it just all unravels. I'm going to have a look here actually to see how easy it is, just to maybe remove some of the springs from the end, and we might not actually need to sew it or anything, so we're going to have a look anyway. Let's see here. Right, so we've got the mattress unpacked. We've unzipped the top piece here, which gives you access to the springs and underneath, which is great because it means we don't need to do any sewing or anything like that. And this should make it quite easy to reduce the length inside of the mattress without cutting anything outside. And then we can just zip it back up again and it should fit in comfortably. Now, inside the camper van length of the bed is going to be 175. So I'm going to find 175 on my measuring tape. I'm going to run along the mattress, and I'm going to draw a line where it says 175 in 3 locations right away across. So I'm going to measure that 175 there. Going along again to the middle, 175 there. And again closer on to this side. 175 there. Great. So that's marked nicely on the mattress, or the inside of the mattress, should I say. So looking at this, when you pull out the inside of the mattress, you can see here you've got the different layers. Now, where that 175 line is actually coming to is actually in between the 2 springs. Now, I don't really want to cut through the middle of springs, because it'll just damage them, it'll just be pointless. So what we'll do is we'll go inside and make it probably a little bit shorter, and make the cut in between that spring there at the end and the next set of springs along, and that way we're not damaging the structure, and there'll be no bits of half spring or metal poking out or what have you. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that back there. I'll probably have to take this cover off to about there now to reduce the length. We're going to get a straight ruler or bit of wood, something straight, and I'm just going to draw a line straight across where I've marked off on the top of here, and then I'm going to look at the tools that we're going to use to do the job. I've got my nice straight bit of plastic here, and I know I've marked off how far I need to be inside to be short enough to be the right length, but actually I need to really take this down to where the middle of the springs are. So in fact what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure again on either side where those springs are in the middle. So I'll take the measuring tape on this side, run that along, and I know I've got to be inside there. Actually it's looking really like 172, and there's a nice line crease you can see in the that's running along there, which sort of shows you where the two separate. And actually I can see that again here, so let's, in my middle measurement, 172 again, nicely marries up with that crease. And here at the very end, 172. So that's great. So I know I'm in between those two springs now, and I can see a little crease that follows, which is where the two springs separate. I'm still going to use this big bit of plastic here to draw that line, because when I'm using the cutting tool, it gives me a guide to follow. So just a rough line down there, it doesn't need to be sort of, you can see the crease anyway, so that's it. I've got my line there, that's great. Get rid of this bit of plastic. So what I've done is, what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to use a pair of scissors just to cut the fabric to expose the springs underneath. So I'm just cutting along that line. From both sides, because it may be that we can just use wire cutters and to cut to separate the springs, because it looks like they're actually bound to each other from either side. Lovely. So there we go. I've got the springs exposed. And we can see here that actually there's just one bit of wire here that's holding them together. So I'm going to have a look now and see how we're going to separate them from each other. Okay, so there's a spiral of wire that runs all the way along, which connects the two sets of springs together. So actually it's looking like it's easier to sort of cut that in between each spring and then just unbend it around. So I'm just going to unbend it and twist it. And actually you can actually just unscrew it like a corkscrew. So I've unscrewed that one there, and you can see that spring is now separated from the last one at this side. Now again, I'm just going to cut in between these two here. That's separated them. I'm just going to twist this like a corkscrew. Again, that's the next one separated, and I'm going to go all the way along there, cutting them in between each one and separating them like that. So it's actually probably easier to do it this way than trying to cut through a whole load of metal with a heavy duty blade, because I think that there's quite a lot of vibration and things like that to consider. It's very hard to cut anything when it's shaking around. It's not in a stable place. So that's great, and I'm going to move all the way along that side now. So just to give you a clearer view of what I'm doing, so I'm separating these two bits here, and then here you can see there is a spring. So in between, so this spiral is going all the way up the center of the springs and attaching them to the next set. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip this here like that. And then you can see that separates the two sets of springs on either side, and I'm just twisting it like this so that it comes all the way off. Okay, so now I've successfully separated all these springs all the way along on this side, but I've still got exactly the same to do on the other side, apart from there's a thicker piece of foam on this side. So what I'm going to do before I turn it over is I'm just going to cut along, or start cutting along from the side here, underneath, following the line of that spring, so I can see where I'm going. It's a little bit more difficult to cut because you've got a layer of material and a layer of foam, so you need some good quality scissors, but once you get going, you're alright. Now, you don't need to be entirely accurate, because I don't think anyone's going to see it when it's inside, but as accurate as possible. So I'm going to turn the mattress over now, because I've started the cut from both sides. So there's two handles here, still on the piece there. Turn the mattress over. That side. So you can see the cut now from the sponge. You can, I might just use the bit of plastic again, just to mark it off, just to join those two sides together. So we're sort of following where we're going again. So get the pen. Just a rough. And there we're going. In fact, you can even use a pair of scissors just to score it down. So I can see that line now. I'm just going to quickly cut along now, so I can see that. Great. And once you've separated these two bits of sponge and material, you'll start to see that again you were presented with exactly the same process that we went through on the other side, which is a spiral connecting the springs together, which you're going to snip at in between each major spring. I'm going to snip the spiral and unwind it again like a corkscrew. Now you can see here I've cut through all of the sponge all the way to the other side. I'm now going to start clipping on this again. So pull the sponge back, find the corkscrew looking spring that goes all the way along. You'll have to unbend it at the very end because it is bent over. So you widen that bit and you can just start screwing it, and eventually it just comes off. So that's your spring there, and as you can see now, that is the first set of springs, both top and bottom, that's now fully separated from the main bed. So we're just going to keep snipping, unscrewing, twist, 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 twist. Next one away, snipping again. Twisting away, and I'm going to follow that process all the way down. Right, we're almost at the end now, so we're just about to separate the very last couple of springs here. So I've already cut them in two, so I'm just going to twist them off now. And separate them. So there's another spring there. And this one is the last one. See how that goes. Off. Lovely. Right. There we go. So we've now, as you can see, we've got this section here. We haven't cut through any of the main springs. Now this is a complete section here that's just being removed. And we've got a nice straight edge all the way down here. We haven't tampered with any of these springs. There's no sharp metal edges or anything like that that's going to hurt anybody. And that's that. Right, you can see here now that we've taken that edge away. You can see the fabric here is not attached to the springs anymore, like it is on this edge here. So the original edge on the other side is attached. The fabric's attached to the spring. This is hanging off. So what I want to do is I want to secure this back down to the springs all the way along, and sort of close this off so it's all, it's all closed off, it's all attached properly. And we're going to use, I was thinking about using this, the old spring to try and do that, but I thought no, what's the point in introducing any sharp bits of metal again? We're just going to use these cable ties. So I'm just going to pierce a hole here through the sponge and the fabric, like that, a little bit further away from the edge. I'm going to thread down the cable tie around the spring there, and I'm just going to pull it like that. And now you can see that's reattached to there. I'll cut that off. And I'll leave the square bit of the cable tie underneath, so it's not sitting anywhere on the top of the bed. I'm just going to go all the way along, a little bit further in from the rest of the thing, so it doesn't tear. Make sure the square bit's underneath. Not too tight, but quite tight. And then clip it off. And then just push that square bit so it's on the other side of the spring. So now you can see that I have completed that process of attaching the fabric and the sponge to each spring all the way along. I've flipped the mattress over and completed exactly the same action on this side, so I'm just going to put the last one in here, thread that in, make sure the square is on the opposite side. Done. So now you can see when that moves, the fabric moves with it, and it's all attached to where it should be. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull the original mattress cover back now. You might want to put some, I don't know if you've got some sponge or something like that down this side if you're that bothered, but I think this is going to be up against the edge of the camper van anyway, so I don't think anyone's ever going to feel it. And you'll see it's actually not that far off. I think just zip it back up. Zip. See, there's a little bit of excess there. Now it's fine. So the mattress has now been shortened to the correct length. Right, we've shortened the mattress now. We'll put the cover back on. We've got that little bit of excess on the side, but it's nothing major to deal with. So what we're going to do now is just lift it up. I want to take it down to the camper van and see if it fits. Okay, so I've now finished modifying the mattress. I haven't put the middle section between here and yet. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay the mattress over the top of both sides that we've been modifying to see if that fits in here now. You can see now that is a nice, perfect fit against the walls, the camper van. And obviously what we'll do is we'll put the final slats in here to support this middle bit, and that's the bed completed.